The news flashes. Florida shatters tourism records. Beaches, palm trees, and luxury condos fill the screen. The message is clear. Florida is booming, a land of endless vacation and opportunity. But just beyond the resorts and gated communities, another Florida exists. Here, headlines tell of skyrocketing rents, stagnant wages, and families living one crisis away from disaster. This is the side of Florida that doesn't make the brochures, a place where the promise of paradise feels out of reach for millions. It's not just a hidden corner, it's everywhere, from Orlando's suburbs to Tampa's working-class neighborhoods. The postcard image draws people in, but for many, it's a mirage. How can a state so wealthy leave so many behind? The answer is woven into its economy, politics, and choices. Tonight, we look past the sunshine and into the shadows to understand Florida's hidden crisis. The real story of Florida is more complicated and more urgent than the world ever sees. Meet Maria, a single mother in Kissimmee, working 2 jobs to survive. She cleans resort rooms for tourists living the dream she can't afford. Her rent just jumped by $400, now swallowing more than half her paycheck. Maria's story is shared by thousands. The backbone of Florida's tourism industry, paid far less than the world-class experience they provide. As housing costs soar, these workers are squeezed hardest, trapped in a cycle of working more for less. And then there's nature. Hurricanes hit hardest for those with the least. For the wealthy, storms are an inconvenience. For families in vulnerable homes, they're disasters that can erase everything. Insurance is often out of reach, and recovery is slow, if it comes at all. Behind the postcard, parents skip meals to pay rent, families crowd into aging apartments, and anxiety over the next crisis never fades. For many, the Florida dream is slipping further away every day. The reality behind the sunshine is a daily struggle to survive. Drive the A1A in Palm Beach County. On one side, ocean waves, on the other, hedges hiding billionaire mansions. Private jets, luxury cars, and charity galas define this world. But 20 minutes inland, the scene shifts. Modest homes, strip malls, and the workers who keep Florida running. Landscapers, teachers, nurses, essential workers living in stark contrast to the opulence they serve. They worry about gas, groceries, and car repairs, while catering to guests who spend more in a night than they earn in a week. The pandemic called them heroes, but praise didn't bring better pay or affordable housing. The gap between rich and poor is now a chasm. Florida's prosperity is built on a workforce increasingly unable to live near their jobs. As costs soar, the system grows unsustainable. What happens when those who build, clean, and care can't afford to stay? The cracks in Florida's foundation are starting to show. When hurricanes threaten, the divide in Florida becomes stark. The wealthy evacuate with ease: hotels, second homes, insurance. For low-income families, evacuation is a nightmare. No money for hotels, unreliable cars, jobs at risk if they leave. Many live in vulnerable homes, zoned into flood-prone areas by decades of poor planning. They often have no choice but to stay and hope for the best. After the storm, recovery is swift for the rich. Insurance and contractors restore normalcy. For the poor, it's chaos-destroyed homes, little or no insurance, and slow, confusing government aid. Disasters expose Florida's deep inequality. Hurricanes don't discriminate, but their impact does, hitting the poor hardest and deepening the cycle of poverty. For many, the struggle to recover never ends. The storm fades from headlines, but the hardship lingers for thousands. Florida's economy dazzles on the surface. Tourism and real estate drive growth and attract millions. But this model is unstable, built on low-wage service jobs with little security or benefits. When downturns hit, workers are laid off first, with no safety net. The housing crisis is fueled by investors treating homes as assets, not places to live. Short-term rentals like Airbnb take homes off the market, driving up prices for everyone. Locals compete with global investors and tourists for housing, a battle they can't win. Housing is a commodity, not a right, and affordability slips further away. Teachers, firefighters, and nurses are priced out of their own communities. The cost of living in paradise has become impossibly high for ordinary Floridians. The foundation of Florida's economy is built on shifting sands. Every day, new residents arrive in Florida, many wealthy, drawn by low taxes and sunshine. They outbid locals for homes, driving up prices and rents in once affordable neighborhoods. Long-time residents are priced out, and the character of entire towns changes. Family diners and shops give way to upscale boutiques and restaurants for the new elite. The social fabric frays as neighbors are replaced by part-time residents with little connection to the community. This isn't about blaming newcomers. It's about understanding the consequences of policies that favor wealth. By courting the rich, Florida is pushing out its own middle and working classes. The workforce the state depends on is being displaced. Who is Florida for? The people who built it, or the wealthy outsiders? The answer will shape the state's future. Economic pressures are tearing Florida's communities apart. The gap between rich and poor is now a canyon, with little shared experience or empathy. The wealthy and working class live side by side, but in separate worlds, different stores, schools, and struggles. This divide erodes the sense of community and breeds distrust and polarization. Essential workers, teachers, police, nurses, can't afford to live where they work, hurting schools and services. The social contract breaks down when communities are segregated by wealth. A healthy society needs people from all backgrounds living and working together. As Florida becomes a patchwork of isolated wealth and widespread struggle, its resilience fades. The Great Divide isn't just a symptom, it's a barrier to solving the crisis. When those in power don't experience the problem, real solutions remain out of reach. Picture a day in Florida's new economy. David, a construction worker, commutes 90 minutes because it's the only place he can afford rent. He builds luxury apartments he'll never live in, his pay lagging behind rising costs. Jessica, a server, relies on tips to survive, sharing a cramped apartment with roommates. She serves tourists living the dream she can't afford. Meanwhile, a retired couple from New Jersey enjoys golf and wine, largely insulated from the struggles around them. These lives run in parallel, building, serving, and living in paradise, but rarely connecting. The system keeps the struggle hidden, just out of sight of the sunshine and golf courses. For millions like David and Jessica, the daily grind is their reality. The Florida dream is reserved for a lucky few. For the rest, it's a fight just to stay afloat. So, who is Florida really for? Is it for the families who built its communities, the essential workers who keep it running, or the wealthy newcomers and investors? The evidence points to a state choosing the latter, policies favoring the rich, growth measured in tourism and real estate, not resident well-being. Prosperity is real, but hoarded at the top, leaving the workforce brittle and unstable. What happens when an entire generation can't afford to build a life here? The state's future depends on whether it prioritizes its people or continues down a path of extreme inequality. Florida stands at a crossroads. Invest in affordable housing, living wages, and sustainability, or become a paradise lost for those who call it home. The choice will define its identity for decades. Will Florida remain a paradise for all, or only for a privileged few? The answer is being written now, in the lives of millions struggling in the shadow of the sun.